So you've just launched Swing, which comes out June 2nd.
Yeah, first week of June.
So what's it looking like working with your wife?
It's pretty fun, you know. She doesn't really do comics, doesn't really read comics, but that was more of these romance sort of slice of life things are very female driven, you know, and I think that's what makes them work, and that's the primary readership. So I wanted to work and have like a strong female voice in the book so that it sounded more authentic. So working with Linda Sedgwick on the art, who also contributed significantly to the story.
She's amazing.
She amazing.
Really is killing it.
And working with my wife was good. So they were more involved with me, I think, on developing the story initially, and then I did sort of the grunt work of it, and then at the end of it they came through and said, oh, no woman would say that.
I love it.
So
do you have a cover for that? I want to see what the book is, because I mean, I read it and I really was like very pleasantly surprised with how it turned out. I was expecting it not to be my demographic, but all of a sudden it was something that was kind of just like
the cover, if you want to show it.
Oh yeah, check it out. It's awesome. It's about a couple that is kind of adventuring or deciding whether or not to adventure into the world of swingers.
Yeah, it's basically delving into the world of ethically non-monogamy.
Yeah.
Ethical non-monogamy, however you want to say that.
Yeah.
It's an interesting world. I think part of it was when we did Sunstone, you know, Sunstone was so successful.
Yeah.
I mean, we've sold, Sunstone now is our best-selling graphic novel of Top Gal's history.
That's so cool.
And it's in the present, you know, not even in the 90s. Because in the 90s we didn't do a lot of graphic novels, or not a lot of trade paperbacks printed. Like a lot of the early stuff was never collected in trades until much, much later. But Sunstone is our best-selling trade paperback line in history. And I did the book for Sedgwick as a favor because he'd always putting it out online on DeviantArt for free, and I'm like, this is a book about two lesbian girls that are into S&M together, and it's free online. No one's gonna buy this if we sell it, and that's at least what I thought. And I was never happier to be so wrong.
Yeah.
When the book did so well, and then I started putting it on my table when I go to conventions, and I'd have these people come up, and they were really into it. They'd tell me how much they hated 50 Shades of Grey, how much they love Sunstone. And they're like, what else do you have like this? And they'd look over at, you know, Think Tank and Symmetry and Cyberforce, and be like, oh, yeah, we don't have anything else like that. So I saw a business opportunity, and so we started trying to develop a line of these slice of life romance books, and now we have them. And you know, sort of the sex positive look. I think part of the reason why Sunstone works so well, because I talked to so many of these people at conventions, is that it was a sex positive look at a lifestyle like this S&M lesbian sort of group that people tend to shame, look down their nose at. And that community doesn't like that, of course. No one likes being shamed. No one likes being looked down upon for what they're doing. And I really, you know, I really thought about it. I'm like, you know, I've always felt that what consenting adults do in their bedroom is their business. I mean, who gives a shit? I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't know why people get so up in arms about stuff.
I agree with you.
And then I did a quick Google search in LA, and I S&M clubs, and one came up. And then I'm like, oh, swinging, that's another sex thing. Because we were looking for another sex positive thing we could do. So I Googled swinger, there's like 7 clubs in LA County. I'm like, oh wow.
I didn't know
so there's a 7 times the potential audience. Because like if you go to S&M clubs, there are some now that carry Sunstone.
Oh,
and I've
really?
already reached out to a lot of these swinging clubs, and they will carry the book.
That's so cool.
In fact, we're going to be doing, with Mike Wallman, and we're talking about doing, there's a club in downtown LA called Club Joy. That's a lifestyle club, and we're going to be doing a cosplay themed party there at some point to celebrate swing.
That's so cool.
Should be fun.
That's super exciting.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'll be my wife will let me go, but
you can't go by yourself. They don't let single guys in.
And so that's a really fun thing though. And so what do you think you attribute that book being the #1 trade paperback sales to? Like just the concept, or is it what would you say, was it the marketing? What would you say is something that really adds to the fact that it's been the #1 seller for you?
I have no idea. You know, sometimes you just get data and you roll with it. It's just, Sedgwick is so good.
Yeah.
He's so good with his fans. He has millions of DeviantArt followers. I didn't know that they would all want to buy the book, but they did.
Wow.
And you know, I think it's just sex positive. The art is amazing. I think people fall in love with these characters, even people that don't understand like a gay lifestyle or any of this sort of stuff. It's just the characters are so well written, and I think that's kind of the key. And that was, by the way, that was so hard for me to write romance slice of life because I'm used to science fiction. Yeah. You know, and I've told this story a few times, but it's so easy to make dragons fighting spaceships look cool. Yeah. That's what Aphrodite 9 was, you know. But having a couple fighting at a restaurant and then having to deal, you know, make that interesting and where you give a shit about these people is really hard. Yeah. So it forces you to really focus on dialogue and character interaction, and that's interesting. I know you've read Swing. When I wrote the first draft, there was nothing about them in college. It started when she was coming down the stairs and he was playing video games.
Oh,
That's
really?
where I wrote the book to start. And the Sedgwicks both said, you can't do this, because that's how I would normally write a comic.
Yeah,
You
start in the middle.
Yeah, and then you tell flashback, you back for you have to make us care about these people. And I wrote 4 or 5 drafts and I just wasn't getting it. And so Cedric called me on Skype and said, go watch the first 5 or 10 minutes of Up a few times and then go write again. And I went and watched that Pixar movie Up, and that whole whirlwind relationship thing in the beginning where you're just in tears by the time it's done. And then I went and sat down and rewrote the thing, and I banged out the draft and I loved it.